I don't know how Ramaphosa became the president anyway after the miners situation, but there you go, right?
Hundreds of years is gone. No Messiah came for the black man. Told us that Jesus died for.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Here on this channel we talk about everything to do with the African diaspora, politics, music, life, love and everything in between. So if you're interested in those topics, then like, share and subscribe. And remember to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I upload a video. Right, today I want to talk about South Africa. I want to talk about separatist movements, right? And I want to talk about the idea, I want to talk about why I believe that in calling South Africa the Rainbow Nation was a myth, and the whole idea of post-apartheid is also a myth, right? So recently you've had, you know, a lot of conflict in South Africa. There's been mass looting because, you know, ex-president Zuma, he was sentenced to 15 months and people really took offense to that and went and hit the streets. And, you know, as a result, there's been like loads of looting and so on and so forth. What this incident has showcased again is the economic divides among South Africans. It's also brought to our attention the racial divide. When you look at the looters, they're not white looters, not because they're like more, not because they have a higher moral anything, but simply because those who have don't need to loot, right? Okay, let's break it down a little bit, right? The majority of the land is still held by the white minority in South Africa. So you still have a lot of black people living in shanties, in townships and so on. They're still struggling, right? Even though we've had an ANC government for quite a while now, right? Which in itself is problematic. South Africa is a black African country. Let's just put that out there. Much in the way that, you know, England is a white European country, right? There's no harm, no foul. There are people who don't see it like that, or don't want to see it like that. And I believe that the idea of calling South Africa the Rainbow Nation is all whitewashing the black legacy of South Africa. And I know it was Desmond Tutu that, you know, coined the phrase. Respect to him, but we don't have to agree on everything, right? And I don't really agree with that. I think it would be different if the people lived differently. So I think if more of the people had understanding or were in agreement around the land issue, then that's different. Also, I think given the fact that you have this separatist movement, you know, going on in South Africa, you've got this white-only town, white-only city, Orania, where black people are not welcome, right? Unless you're a journalist. This Orania now, it houses, I think, you've got about 1,000, nearly 2,000 residents of Orania. And originally it was set up just before the end of apartheid, and they set it up because, or they began to put things in place to set it up because they realized that a minority rule government was unsustainable, right? And they were right. The president of Orania is the grandson of one of the chief architects of that apartheid hateful system, Henrik van Wojcik or something like that. And this man was a psychologist, and he socially engineered the idea of a racial divide and apartheid, and also, you know, white supremacy. This man was a full-blown white supremacist. So when I talk about how people teach their children racism, not only their immediate children, but their grandchildren as well. So his grandson is now the president of this, you know, this Orania situation. Now, I'm told that the reason the government haven't really done anything about it is because they're not breaking the law. And, you know, what they have done, and that they've got, you know, bigger fish to fry. These Afrikaans now, they decided, or what they've done is they've manipulated the constitution in such a way so the South African constitution allows for the formation of cultural groups, right? Cultural expression and cultural groups. So it allows people to form cultural groups. It's on this basis that they've set up Orania. Orania is more than a cultural group. And I've listened to a few interviews, and it's been made very clear that for many of them, for the leadership of Orania, it's a starting point to total liberation, right? This is a separatist movement, but it's going under the radar. Not like Biafra, where, we're big and bold and everything, people want their Biafra very upfront, very transparent, or Dudua very upfront, very transparent. But the idea around Orania is for them to really establish their own country, right? That's really what they want to do. My question is this. So as Orania is still under South Africa, if South Africa were to revert back to minority rule, would the residents of Orania still feel the need for Orania? So many of them complain that, they lost everything when they feel they lost everything when apartheid ended. They lost their black servants and their farm workers. But is that losing everything when you still got the land? They feel really hard done by. And this is the thing now. It's like, if you're going to be a bad sport about things, this is an example of this privilege that we speak of, right? So you happily lived with this minority rule situation for many years. And when things change and it's decided actually it's quite an immoral situation we've got going on here, and you don't have that anymore, you have this majority rule government, instead of being a good sport about it, so a good sport would have been like, you know what, we've had a good run, let's knuckle down, let's build together, let's grow together, let's live together, let's share together. A bad sport, however, would either, one, leave the country like they threatened to do in Kenya, when Kenya, gained their independence or was en route to gaining it. They did it in Zimbabwe, threatened to leave, fear gripped. In Uganda, they didn't have a choice. Many people were just, quite frankly, expelled. And in South Africa, you've got this Orania situation. So it's like, I'm not going to work with you, so I'm going to set up my own thing because I don't really like you. Let's put this into context of football for a minute. It's a bit like saying, okay, we don't mind having black players in the team. In fact, we don't even mind playing with those black players. But for heaven's sake, I will not endure a black manager telling me what to do. Absolutely ludicrous. I swear, honestly, this is damnation. This is hellfire. Somebody now go heaven. This is damn. The link. Do you see how this virus, then, let's say, do you see how this spreads and how this manifests into other areas of your life, right? So these people just couldn't bear to have a black president, so they decided to set up their own thing. Good luck, right? Ramaphosa probably hasn't got the courage to, order a couple of bulldozers and take a trip. But, Ramaphosa, however, would have enough courage to make a call about black African mine workers, right? He's all brave then. But when it comes to, and they were only asking for, an increase in their wages, right? They were asking for an increase in their wages. What did Ramaphosa do when he was the union rep? What did he do? Right? What did he do? But yeah, he became the president. I don't get it. And he's allowing this Orania with their flag, their constitution. My people, let's look at the double standards that are going on here. You've got Biafrans losing their lives every day. You've got Oduduwa Republic, Yoruba nation people losing their lives every single day just because they want the right to identify with who they really truly are, right? They don't want to identify with what the colonizer called them. They want to be Biafrans. They want to be Yoruba. They want to be Oduduwa. But yet, these people are marginalized. They're called all sorts of names. They're locked up. They're beaten. They're abused. But yet, in South Africa, you've got an entire city growing by the day and nobody bats an eyelid. That's why this entire The idea of this rainbow nation, right, is a myth. Still suffering the legacy of apartheid and still suffering economic apartheid for the black Africans. So I don't know. I think things will change, and I hope things will change and improve there. But I personally think they'll be wrong to sleep on this Orania situation. I find it quite disingenuous of them. There's a part of me that thinks, well, if people don't want to live with you, you can't force them. That's true, right? But nobody did anything to them for them to make that move. Right now in Nigeria, you have people who are losing their life because they want to identify with who they originally were before the colonizer came, right? That's not a crime. It's not a sin. They have the right to self-determination. There's a reason too. It's not just, I don't want to live with these black folk. It's not just petty. They have real, genuine concerns why they would want to do that. But these bad sports, these, the idea of Orania, it's just real. I think it's diabolical, basically. But you know what? Let me know what you think. You might think it makes sense, and you might think that. But I personally think it makes a mockery of the idea of, a post-apartheid South Africa. It makes a mockery of the Rainbow Nation. It makes a mockery of so many things. And when you think about of all the presidents that could have been jailed, right? Jacob Zuma's been jailed. None of those apartheid presidents were jailed. None of them. But Jacob Zuma got jailed. Go figure.